Welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda and today's going to be a little bit different of a video. I'm going to go ahead and show you this makeup look that I did, and I'm also going to talk about my anxiety and what I go through, kind of just like a chit chat get ready with me video. So please do subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment below if you guys have anxiety, if this helped you at all, and let's go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, so first I'm gonna start with primer, and I'm gonna use the Too Faced Hangover RX primer. And I'm gonna go in with the Too Faced Born This Way foundation in Porcelain. And I'm gonna apply that with a Real Techniques blending sponge. It's kind of like a marble sponge. So I did kind of want to just like touch on a few things, kind of make it like a little bit lighthearted, more of a video, because it is kind of like a serious topic to like talk about. So I thought I would just do my makeup and kind of just like talk to you guys. So I've been dealing with anxiety probably my whole life. I remember when I was a little girl and I would have anxiety all the time, but I never really knew what it was. Like, I would always just be like, I'm sad or I'm mad. Like, it was like really kind of like simple emotion when it wasn't kind of like down to the root of the cause, you know? So I deal with anxiety on a day-to-day basis. You just kind of have anxiety all day, and it can like get kind of worse some days. It could be like kind of normal anxiety most days. So it is a huge part of my life, and I know it's hard for people to talk about because it is kind of hard for me to talk about. I mean, if people ask me questions about it, I'm totally fine like talking to them about it, and kind of like letting them know my side and like what I deal with. But I'm just like blending out this foundation quick. But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to make this video just to kind of like help even just one person. I'm not like looking for like pity or anything, or like for you guys to like feel bad that I have anxiety every day, because like that's not what I'm looking for. Just to kind of make people feel like they're not alone, you know? And if they're dealing with it, if I could talk about it, they could totally talk about it with someone. So yeah, I guess like kind of like the history of my anxiety. Nothing really like caused it. I mean, I had like a great childhood. I hung out with my family a lot in my childhood. I had so much fun. So it's not like something like big in my life caused me to have anxiety forever. Like, it's not like that. I totally believe it's kind of like a genetic thing. And of course, like, I'm not a doctor, so ever since I can remember, I've had little spurts of anxiety, and looking back, I didn't know what anxiety was. I never knew what it was. Probably until I was like around 18 did I like kind of figure it out by myself what it was. So like I would remember when I was little, say for instance, I remember a time where I just moved here. I moved from New York to Florida, and I had no friends, and I was kind of like sad that we moved. And in, I believe it was 6th grade, we had this class that was kind of like a block class. It was kind of like they didn't know what to do with us for like 3 hours, so they just put us in a computer lab and like pretended like we were going to do like work, but we never really did. I kind of just like kept to myself, and that's when I kind of noticed I was like a little bit depressed, of course, because I just moved somewhere new. I didn't have any friends yet. But it was kind of just more anxiety, I felt, like looking back. What I would do is coping mechanisms when I didn't even realize I was doing it. So I would listen to my CD player at the time, the portable CD player, and I would go on the computer and play the computer games that everyone else was playing. There was like this one game that was like, I think it was like Cops and Robbers or something like that, where you would like, you could be the cop or you could be the robber, and you had to like do like a series of things, and everyone in the classroom could play the same game as you. But I went under anonymous because I felt like no one really liked me. So I felt like maybe that was a way to show like I was like kind of cool to like play it, you know? So I would sit there with my little headphones on and my CD player of a mixed CD that my brother made me. It had like Yellow Card, Trap on it, and I would just like re-listen to it over and over again for 3 hours. And that was kind of like my coping mechanism. Like music was something that made me feel like I wasn't alone, and something that distracted me. I think big with anxiety is distraction. Of course, it's good to get to like the root of the cause and kind of understand how you're feeling, but for me, most of the time, it's just like normal anxiety. So I do have coping mechanisms that I do throughout the day, just to kind of like make it a little bit easier on myself. So it's funny how even back then, I just knew to do that. I knew to have like coping mechanisms and just to like make myself feel better and to get through the day kind of thing. What people don't understand is that when you say that you have anxiety, people are like, oh, okay, like you're fine, you're just like anxious. But when you have anxiety 24/7 throughout the day, it could totally like stop you from doing things throughout your normal day. Like it might be so easy for someone to just get out of bed, go to work, come home, make dinner, you know, and do it all over again tomorrow. But for someone like me who has anxiety, sometimes even just getting out of bed is like a difficult chore. Like that's like my milestone of the day. Like the little simplest things, me getting ready today, like I don't do that often, you know? Like anxiety can stop you from doing things. Of course you have to try to like not let it, but you do also have to know your limits as well. And I definitely know my limits. It took me a really long time to learn that, understand that I had anxiety. So I felt like weird that I felt like I couldn't go out. I felt like I couldn't get up and do my makeup, and I felt bad about myself, and I just didn't want to go out. And then I would feel bad that I missed out, and I would be like upset that I missed out about it. Because it's good to have people who understand, because if you're friends with people who completely don't understand, they're gonna be like, oh, well, Amanda's just writing me off again, she's not my friend, she's not a good friend, like she never wants to go out with us anymore. And it's totally not like that, because believe me, I would love to go out every night, but it's just like not me, you know? I think that's like one of the most difficult things about anxiety, is having other people understand what you're going through. Sometimes you don't really want to tell them like all of the ins and outs of what you go through every day, and how like it stops you from doing things, and you know, so some people just don't really need to hear all of it. I feel happy for them that they don't understand what I go through, you know? It used to be really frustrating back in the day when like no one understood what I was going through, and I'm just alone. That's how I felt. And I think just letting people know like how you feel in the moment, instead of making excuses and like trying to come up with something like, oh, my stomach hurts, or oh, I don't feel good, you know, like kind of just tell them, and they should understand. Like if they're your friend and they really care about you, they'll definitely understand that. I'm using the Born This Way Eternal Setting Powder in translucent. Yeah. And I mean, I've lost friends along the way. They kind of just don't understand. They want to go out and drink all the time, and I'm like not about that life, you know? Like drinking gives me anxiety, and if I can avoid having more anxiety than I do at the moment, like why wouldn't I? Like why would I do that to myself just to like please other people, you know? There is benefits to it, because you kind of have to like reflect in yourself. You kind of have to like step back, like realize that it's just anxiety, that nothing is going to happen to you, that you're going to be okay, and then kind of like assess what's going on, like how you feel in that moment. And the more you do that, the more you realize that, okay, if I felt like this once before, I could totally feel like that again and completely be fine. So it kind of gives you like a peace of mind for the next time if it happens again. So it's good because you have a lot of self-reflection, and I do think it kind of just makes you a little bit more, I don't know if like mature is the word, but like just more like aware of your feelings and others' feelings. I'm gonna use the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer potion, and I think I'm gonna do like kind of like a Valentine's Day look. I'm allergic to pink eyeshadow, so I can't do pink, but I thought I'd do like a red maybe. I don't know, just kind of like play around and see how. I just kind of want to talk about it because when I was younger, no one talked about it. Like, I didn't know what I had. I didn't know I had anxiety. I thought there was something horribly wrong with me and no one else was going through it. Everyone thought I was crazy. I would go to the doctor and they would just look at me like I was insane. Like I would tell them my symptoms, my heart was racing and like all these things that were happening to me, my stomach hurt, and like they would just look at me weird. And one doctor was like, oh, well, it has to be your heart. Like there has to be reasons with your heart. And they did like all these heart like tests on me and said like, it made me even more anxious and said that I had like a flutter and that they need to check on it, but then it was fine. Like, of course I had a flutter because you're checking my heart for heart problems, you know, like, and I'm like freaking out. So yeah, it was kind of like I had to realize what it was on my own. I had to do my own research, and there wasn't a lot out there. There wasn't people on YouTube talking about it. Like, it was kind of like a secret because it was kind of like taboo. Like, you said you had anxiety and people thought you were insane and had to go to a mental ward. Like, it's totally not like that. Like, so many people go through anxiety and I'm not sure why people didn't talk about it. It was kind of like maybe embarrassing for them or something. I'm not sure. So I kind of had to like figure it out what it was on my own and do like lots of research, and I tried different foods to see if that would help. And of course it's great to have like a good diet and exercise because that can help you, but I think it's good to just figure out what your triggers are and what triggers your anxiety to be like, say if you don't have anxiety like me where it's every day, just things that kind of put you off and kind of spike your anxiety. It's good to know that and note that and maybe avoid that in the future, or like come up with like a coping mechanism for it. So yeah, I just had to kind of do my own research and figure out that because I have IBS, it's due to anxiety. I have flare-ups when I have anxiety, or I make myself have flare-ups because I'm so anxious all the time, you know? So kind of goes hand in hand a bit. I'm just using the Conspiracy palette by Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, and I'm just using my pills in the crease and a little bit of Tanacon as well, and just blending that out. And it's nice to have someone just to talk about it with. And even if it's not like a friend or a family, you could totally talk to someone like at school, in your like maybe like a counselor or a therapist, like just like breaking that mold and saying like, hey, I need help. And there's totally nothing wrong with that. There's totally nothing wrong of talking to people about how you feel. I've been to therapy before tons of times. It definitely helps just to like get it out and talk about it, and then you do feel better. Like I said, like, I'm not a doctor. I don't want you guys to feel bad for me that I have anxiety. Like, believe me, I'm over it. Like, I deal with it. It's just like a part of me, you know? Take a Flaming Hot from this palette and put it all over my lid. I am allergic to pink eyeshadow, so I'm hoping like this doesn't affect me. We'll see. I think the thing for me when I was a teenager, I would rely on people so much emotionally. Like, if they didn't like me, I was a wreck. Like, I was torn. Like, I couldn't understand why they didn't like me, like why they didn't want to hang out with me all the time, why they would hang out with other people and not invite me, or guys who didn't like me, or they would hurt me. And I would rely emotionally for that support, and it was just not something you should do. You shouldn't rely on anyone to make yourself feel better. Of course, you should talk to people about your anxiety, and you could get help from other people. It's not good to just rely your happiness and your emotion on just certain people or one person. Okay, so now I'm just kind of like blending out the red with my pills and Tanacon and just going back and forth. So Valentine's Day, you kind of want like sparkles. At least I do. I mean, I don't go anywhere for Valentine's Day. I usually don't. But it's fun to just kind of do it for yourself, you know, get dressed up. So I'm going to use the Stila Glitter and Glow in Kitten Karma, and I'm just going to place that with my finger directly on the center of my lid just to add a little bit of glitter. Okay, so I just kind of blended that out with my finger. Then I'm going to move on to mascara. This is the Tarte Man Eater mascara. I've never tried it before, so I'm interested to see if it's any good. And then on my lower lashes, I use the Wet n Wild Mega Slim Skinny Mascara. Okay, so mascara is done, and I think I'm gonna put a little bit of this white color ranch in the inner corner and maybe just a little bit on my lower lash line. So just to kind of like brighten up the inner corner a bit. See right there. And just blend it out. Of course my camera's dying. And then I'm gonna do my brows and I'll be right back. Did my mascara and my eyebrows, and I'm really loving this eyeshadow. I mean, my eyes are a little bit itchy and I feel it like in the back of my throat, but I just won't wear it for that long since I am kind of allergic to like pinky eyeshadows, and it is a bit more like pink than red. I think it's just because I put that Stila like glitter and glow on the top of it. And I also use that ranch color just underneath my eye. I feel like it just kind of like brightens up your eyes a little bit. I'm going to use this MAC Pink Sparkles brush. This is from the Simpsons collection. This is really old, guys. I mean, I probably shouldn't use it. It's more of like a collective item. But I just thought it was like a really nice pretty pink. It's kind of like more of like a feminine like makeup look, so I wanted to keep the blush a little bit lighter with an angled brush and put on some blush. I feel like blush kind of just like pulls everything together, makes you look a little bit more alive than just one color. Then I'm going to go in with a highlight. I'm going to use the Wet n Wild's Mega Glow highlight palette that I hold in, or that I showed you in my previous video of what I got for Christmas for myself video. I'm just going to take a Morphe M501 and probably going to take a mixture of these two shades and just on the top of my chin. I really like Wet n Wild highlighters. They're really inexpensive. Wet n Wild is just a great brand overall for the drugstore. See that? Really pretty. Go with the Kate by Rimmel London in 47. And it's just kind of like a my lip color, but better, kind of more of a nude. That's what that looks like. It's super pretty. It's kind of like more of like a rosy, kind of like a darker nude. I like darker colors on me instead of like pale nudes, you know. So this is the finished makeup look. And if you're just like going out to dinner, going out with your girlfriends, really pretty makeup look with my red dress. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little bit different. It's kind of like weird to talk about anxiety, but I just kind of want to open up the conversation. I just hope that one person watches it and it helps them feel like they're not alone. Then that's what I wanted to accomplish, and kind of just make it a little bit more fun doing my makeup. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please do subscribe if you're new to see when I upload videos, and give this a thumbs up if you like this kind of video, if you like kind of like chit chat get ready with me's, or if you want to see like more anxiety videos, let me know. So thanks guys so much for watching. Bye.